In day 2 of the IFCPF 2023 Asia Oceania Championships from Bandura in Melbourne. It's the ParaMatildas set to take on Nepal after Australia's men's side fell to Iran. In the game just gone, Australia's women's side a chance to make it 2 from 2 in their first tournament on home soil. It was a strong performance yesterday. 3-0 winners they were over Japan. And they today will face a Nepalese side who are making their competitive debut, much like India did in the men's side of things earlier on today. ParaMatildas playing only their second game at home in their history, the #1 ranked side in the world, despite their second place finish at the World Cup in Spain last year. As out come the teams onto the main pitch at the home of the Matildas to a wonderful Australian applause. It's going to be Nepal in purple and Australia in the changed aqua strip, led out by referee Keith Stroud. The Matildas were so supportive of the ParaMatildas over the last 24 hours. There was comments and posts from some of Tony Gustafsson's best and now Kelly Sturton's best. And hope to keep the goodwill up with a win here as we go down to the middle for the Nepal and Australia anthems.
To be upstanding for the national anthem of Nepal. We now invite those who are able to remain standing for the national anthem of Australia.
Anthem's done. Let's get to the teams, and we'll start with Nepal, and perhaps the most eagle-eyed of viewers may well be able to spot a purple shirt in amongst the Nepal lineup that is a slightly different shade of purple to the others. And that is because they've got an Australian in there. Jasmine Hose, a Victorian, will play for Nepal to help make up the numbers. The Nepal side is as follows. #1 is Nayama Magar. #7 is Sabina Parajuli. #9 is Anjana Dami. #10 is Ryuti Kaki. And Jasmine Hose does not have a number on the back of the shirt. She's wearing an Australian goalkeeper shirt, so it looks very similar to the Nepalese shirts, but there you go, a bit of trivia for you. And for the Australians who will be in the aqua, of course, Jasmine Hose playing in purple tonight, but for the Australians playing for Australia, you've got Carly Salmon in goal. The outfielders, number 2, Nicole Christodoulou. Number 4, Karina Gregorian. Number 5, a ParaMatildas debut, and cap number 14 to Tamsin Colley. Number 7 is Eloise Northam. So from yesterday, that's 3 changes. Salmon, Gregorian and Colley in for Smith, Blanchard and Bykoff, who of course got a brace yesterday in the win over Japan. So a tournament debut for Nepal then. And Jasmine Hose, who is a Victorian, was part of a ParaMatildas training camp early this year, nonetheless, in May. It included many of the players that will play for Australia tonight, including Tamsin Colley, who makes her debut tonight. Wasn't part of the World Cup squad, but has already been part of a Paralympics. She was the youngest Australian Paralympian back in 2016. She hadn't even turned 14 at that point, and she ran 11th in a 200-metre sprint. So congratulations to now 21-year-old Tamsin Colley from New South Wales, who will get her first Pararoos cap this evening. As English referee Keith Stroud goes over to spot the ball down on the centre circle. ParaMatildas break from their huddle. Tamsin Colley is sporting a blue headband that matches the shirt. We've seen Hayley Rasso wear ribbons that do likewise, so if you're looking for the ParaMatildas debutant, there's your giveaway, wearing the number 5 for Australia this evening.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it was such a historic occasion yesterday. Our Paratillies getting their first ever win in a competitive match on home soil. And they are back in action here in Melbourne on day 2. Make some noise for the girls in green and gold as we get set to kick off.
The Paratillies are set to go again. Such a good result for them yesterday in the win over Japan. And while the scorers of all 3 goals sit on the bench to start this game, there's plenty of firepower on the pine, and there's plenty in that starting 5 as well. Australia in the position in the world rankings which every team wants to be. Can they carry that out onto the pitch and make it 2 wins from 2? And it will be Tamsin Colley with the first kick of the ball for the game, and the first in her ParaMatildas career, to get us underway. Keith Stroud's happy, checks the watch, blows the whistle, and we're away to start the second ParaMatildas match on home soil in as many days. The first one went to plan, and there's plenty in attendance who will hope the second does likewise. Ball drifted through towards Parajouli. Quickly, ParaMatildas arrived on the scene to try and make something of it, including Tamsin Colley, who getting to the ball but firing wide. Namaya Magar in goal for Nepal in the orange. Just to play it short. Nepal under a bit of pressure, and there's an early goal. Nicole Christodoulou strikes early for Australia. She has her 6th ParaMatildas goal. And for the second game in a row, the ParaMatildas strike within a minute. Nicole Christodoulou capitalising and scoring.
Scored by number 2, Nicole Christodoulou. The score is now Australia 1, Nepal 0.
Made her debut in the very first ParaMatildas International, did Nicole Christodoulou, and scored their second match on home soil. Could be another chance. And she could have had number 2 there, Nicole Christodoulou. It was a wonderful ball in behind, and the ball just drifted across the face of goal. As Kaki leaves the Goal kick for Magar. Goal kick will be taken short. Kaki looking to play it forward as Nepal looks to get it up towards halfway. Good tackle from Dami as the ball goes out of play. A reminder again that we are using the blue lines in the female side of this draw. Of course, the men's side using the white lines across the tournament. Making her way forward now, Gregorian, who came off the bench yesterday. One back by Dami. As Gregorian looks to run this one down on the Australia left, just outside the box, pulls it square. Christodoulou again! And she doubles hers and Australia's tally. And a synchronised celebration to go with it. Nicole Christodoulou certainly knows where the back of the net is. And Australia have a quick second. This Australian side can play some really good football when they get going, as shown there.
Australia 2, Nepal 0.
And Nicole Christodoulou, who's been central to all of this first 3.5 minutes. And you'd think that she could have herself a handful by full time, particularly if the rate at which she's scoring continues. As Hose rolls it in, ended up finding Parajouli. One back by Gregorian. But then lost it, and Hose plays it out of play for Australia throw. She'll know a lot of the Australia players very well, will Jasmine Hose. And would be playing in front of plenty of friends and family, given that she was born in Melbourne. Going towards the middle, just about missed Colley. Christodoulou on a hat-trick. Towards halfway for Gregorian. Colley, first time ball for Christodoulou, who had a look up. Northam's at the back post. Good bit of defending by Dami to make sure it didn't get through. Behind it goes for a corner. Has the scramble right at the goal mouth, and the ball strikes the post from Northam. As the ball bounces around, Colley working it forwards. She's got a foot on the ball as Dami looks to bring it away. Good run from Dami. The ball runs out of play and behind for a ParaMatildas goal kick. It's just worth a mention too that this game won't lead towards championship or ranking points, given that Nepal are fielding players ineligible due to classification. As Colley's in, and she almost had a first ParaMatildas goal. But all players are classified, just to go back to that point, and Nepal have players ineligible. There are 3 classifications: FT1, FT2 and FT3. So because the players out there fall foul of those classifications, of course, they still get to play, which is the most important thing, but this won't lead to any championship or ranking points in the IFCPF Women's World Rankings. Christodoulou looking to play it through for Tamsin Colley, who couldn't quite get her feet sorted out. In fact, make that Gregorian, who was almost through on goal. She does have a ParaMatildas goal to her name, does Karina Gregorian. Scored it in Osaka against Japan. As Nepal look to work it forwards. Gregorian back on the ball, has Colley and Christodoulou forward. Couldn't find either of them. Playing into the middle. Gregorian battling now, Colley. Out wide for Christodoulou. In behind for Gregorian. The ball just out of reach. Behind for a Nepal goal kick. Again, the goal kick is played short. Colley getting in the way as Nepal look to move the ball forward. Good tackle from Gregorian. Colley looking to keep it in, couldn't quite. Smagar spots the ball down. As a water bottle is just being passed around. Looks like it's heading in the direction of the goalkeeper, Namaya Magar. Tamsin Colley fired another shot on goal, but Nepal, I should say, are able to deal with it. So just again a reminder that this game won't count towards competition points due to Nepal fielding ineligible players due to classification. It won't lead to ranking points either. Gregorian to roll it in. Colley. Saran looks to defend. Good pressure from Colley, who shoots and scores! What a moment for the ParaMatildas debutantes. A first goal for a country for Tamsin Colley. And the 14th ParaMatilda in history has a goal to go with it as well. She deserves it for the pressure she put on. Won the ball high up the pitch, and first time struck it into the bottom left corner. Tamsin Colley, ParaMatilda's goal scorer. And no one can ever take that away from her. Australia have 3, and they want more as Northern was running forward. Couldn't quite keep it in play. The goal kick is taken short. Paul play it forward. And the ball will drift through to Carly Salmon, who wears the armband today for Australia. In the absence of both Caitlin Smith and Georgia Bykoff. Colleen again almost had a second. Keeps the pressure up high on the pitch and almost had a second goal to show for it. As Nepal again look to play out from the back with Dami, who play the ball out of play. Christodoulou, Northern in a bit of space if you can find her. And Northern will look to run this down and run straight to the corner flag. And she turns to the bench, maybe getting a few polite words from the bench as to say, well, why are you running straight into the corner flag? And the words back were probably, I could have hardly had another option. Breaks for Christodoulou, who will shoot. It's blocked away. Good bit of defending by Dami, who then went again and sent the ball out of play for an Australia throw. Rolled in short towards Northern, who took a touch, went inside the box and scored. Eloise Northern makes it 4. And a player who has played in every single ParaMatildas international has yet another goal for a country. It's number 8 for Australia, for Eloise Northern. And it's number 4 on the day for Australia in the ParaMatildas, as they look to try and grow this lead ever more. Gregorian lost it, broke for Christodoulou, who looked to open the game up for Northern. That's out of play for another ParaMatildas corner. Which Northern will send in low. Gregorian first on the scene. Hose hit the floor as Nepal were trying to bring it away through Parajouli. Jasmine Hose back on the ball. And a free kick will go the way of Nepal. Has Nepal given it away? Here's Christodoulou. Has Collie up with her? Christodoulou went alone and maybe would have been better served giving it off. Of course, when you've got Nicole Christodoulou bearing down on goal, then there's often no one else you'd rather have striking a ball, unless the name of that player is Georgia Bykoff. But Nicole Christodoulou is so clinical in front of goal that you would hardly blame her for having a shot. That one unable to find its way on target. As Collie wins it back. Bobbling ball. Collie will take it on! And Tamsin Collie will score again! And she also has a brace alongside Nicole Christodoulou. And a 5th goal goes in for Australia with just over a quarter of an hour played.
CommBank ParaMatildas goal scored by number 5, Tamsin Collie. The score is now Australia 5, Nepal 0.
So now doubles for Christodoulou and Collie. And also one for Eloise Northern. Makes the 5. Worth a mention too that now that Tamsin Colley has played for Australia, now every player in this squad has got a cap to their name, at least one. As Nepal will have a free kick. Right on midfield. Just played short by Jasmine Hose. Northern in to intercept. Played right. As Gregorian makes her way forward. Back for Northern on the turn. Got a bit of defending by Darmy, who plays it out of play for a throw to Australia. She's rolled in short for Christodoulou. Northern back with Christodoulou, who elected to shoot just offline. As Amaya Makari will go with the goal kick, but not just yet. Tricks break first for Ryuta Kaki. Now Darmy will send it up towards halfway. Colley back there after Christodoulou got a foot in. Gregorian, one way then the other. Good tackle by Kaki. The ball out of play for another Australia throw. Northern furthest forward. Gregorian elected not to go there. Instead went back to our goalkeeper in Carly Salmon, who is also a ParaMatildas goal scorer. Scored in Osaka, one of the 3 internationals against Japan in September. It's Christodoulou looking for a hat-trick, and she's got a hat-trick. Celebration between Christodoulou and Colley, a quick high five. And it's 6 on the board for Australia. Nicole Christodoulou has half of them.
ParaMatildas goal scored by Nicole Christodoulou. The score is now Australia 6, Nepal 0.
And Nicole Christodoulou now with goals and caps matching, 8 caps, 8 goals. Came into the game with 7 caps and 5 goals, but a hat-trick here means it's 8 from 8. This Tamsin Colley had a swing at it. Ball back with Salmon, who will go out wide for Gregorian. Up and over halfway she goes. Can she add her name to the score sheet? Not quite here. Good bit of defending from Parajouli. Ball back with Colley. Now with Jasmine Hose, who puts it up to halfway and over. Christodoulou. And now Gregorian, just under 5 of the half to play. Back with Christodoulou receiving from Northern. Ball into the middle. Northern back to goal. As Colley right with her. She put it towards the goalkeeper. And a good bit of work to get over the top of it by Magar. Well, just through to Northern, who went to have a go, but went through to goalkeeper Magar, who has been called into action a couple of times now. Christodoulou. Colley helping it forward towards Gregorian, who did well. Still, Karina Gregorian, good save by Magar. Northam's there and will turn it home. Number 7 for the ParaMatildas. And the goalkeeper receiving a little bit of help from Keith Stroud. And Magara is warmly applauded as she gets to her feet. Australia will make a change here with Ray Anderson set to make her 7th appearance for ParaMatildas.
Ray Anderson.
Ray Anderson from New South Wales made a debut against Japan in the Women's World Cup just gone. And became the 7th athlete to feature at both the Winter and Summer Paralympics from Australia. And she did that a few years back now. As the ball drifts out of play, just in front of Karina Grigorian. Who will roll it back into play. Heading towards the middle, looking to get it away, Dami. Colley working it forward. Here's Anderson. You might well fancy a chance to get her goal account open for her country today. Gregorian winning it back. To fire away through. Could break here for Nepal. And Karki almost taking the chance. Ball forward for Colley. We played it forward for Grigorian. Quickly from one end to the other. It's Karina Grigorian. And it's another for Australia. And Grigorian pointing to the crowd. The Karina Grigorian fan club must be in full effect here in Bundoora. And that was her first thought as soon as she put the ball into the back of the net. Thank the people that helped got me here. And it was a good finish by Karina Grigorian, who has another goal for Australia. 25 minutes are now up. And that'll be half time. So we'll have no added minutes at the end of the 25. And Australia lead this game by 8 goals to nil. The 8 coming courtesy of Karina Grigorian right before the half-time whistle. Nicole Christodoulou has got a hat-trick. Tamsin Colley has got 2. Karina Grigorian now with 2. And Eloise Northern with the other. And at the break here at the home of the Matildas in the final game of day 2, it is Australia 8, Nepal 0. Worth a reminder that this game won't count for championship or ranking points, and we'll be back with the second half from game 3 right after this on SBS's coverage of the 2023 IFCPF Asia Oceania Championships. Welcome back one last final time to the home of the Matildas for day 2 of the IFCPF Asia Oceania Championships. We're at half-time in the third and final game of the day. It's Australia and Nepal in the women's side of things. It's 8-0 to Australia at half-time. Worth a mention too that this match won't count towards ranking points or championship points due to Nepal fielding ineligible players in that regard, but it will count to individual goal tallies and appearances for each individual player. And so this will forever be Tamsin Colley's first international cap. That of course stands, and the 2 goals that she's got as well will go along with that as well. The goal scorers for Australia: Nicole Christodoulou has a hat-trick, Gregorian has 1, Colley has 2, and Eloise Northam has the other. Australia did make 1 change from the 5 that started the game, with Ray Anderson coming on for Eloise Northam after her goal. As we get ready for the start of the second half. It will be Ranjana Dami to get us back underway. Gregorian losing out, Christodoulou coming across. Playing it through, here's Anderson. She hasn't got a ParaMatildas goal yet, and she still doesn't. Great ball in behind, and Ray Anderson almost scoring. This rolled short. Sent out of play by Dami. Just on the triple header tomorrow, it's India and Japan from midday in the men's competition, then Thailand and Iran straight after that from 2:30. As Salmon sends that one out of play. And then in the women's draw, it's Japan and Nepal from 5 p.m. All matches broadcast on SBS On Demand. And by that point, we're almost at the halfway stage of the tournament in terms of games played, which is crazy to even think about, as Christodoulou's clearance forward was blocked out of play by Kaki. And Australia's number 2 will roll it back in. Gregorian plays it across, looking for Colley. Australia almost caught out. Hose at the edge of the box. Went back instead of going forward. Ray Anderson had it taken away from her. Out to play it goes for another Australia ball in. Rolled in towards Anderson, who eventually lost it. Now Kaki for Nepal. Played it back for Parajouli, who played the ball out of play for an Australia ball in. What it's worth as well, Australia's record victory in terms of ParaMatildas football was a 12-0 win over the Netherlands back on the opening game of the Women's World Cup last year in Spain. It's rolled across for Tamsin Colley. ParaMatildas every chance of beating that record here as it goes towards Colley, who couldn't quite run it down. Rolled in short, getting there just ahead of Tamsin Colley was Dami. Over for Jasmine Hose, who played it out of play for Australia ball in. Trolled in short for Gregorian, who has Anderson in the middle if she wants. Ball didn't quite get there. Colley coming across and Dami was moving away. Free kick picked out for Nepal. As Georgia Bykoff and Talia Blanchard spot the camera. Two of ParaMatildas players that started yesterday's win over Thailand as it goes across to Gregorian, who elected to shoot. It hits the post. The outside of the post and rolled behind. Untouched otherwise for a goal kick to Nepal. Thrown in short. Anderson was, in fact, it was Colley trying to play the ball. The ball will go back all the way to Agar. Now with Dami. Played it against Anderson. Here's Colley breaking away. She's on a hat-trick and she couldn't quite find her third goal of the evening there. Gregorian gets it away from Jasmine Hose, who gets a few cheers from the crowd. Ball across for Anderson as Nepal win it back. Break inside the area. Salmon able to sweep up. Doesn't send it too far away though. Nice. Played out from Parajuli for Australia. Ball in. Just taken quickly from Christodoulou for Anderson. Tamsin Colley square. Anderson went alone and put it wide. Very short for Dami. Now with Gregorian, who does well down the Australia left. Still Gregorian, but it's square for Colley as it bobbles around at the goal mouth. And it was picked up by Parajuli. As an outfield player, that's not in the rules of football. The ball will go back to the Nepalese goalkeeper anyway, in Megar. All's well that ends well, I suppose. The ball goes out to play for an Australia ball in. Christodoulou looking to work it forward, out of play for an Australia throw. Gregorian looking to work it square. As Anderson almost lost it. Got through to Christodoulou, who had a look and has a fourth. 9-0 Australia. And Nicole Christodoulou has number 4 from an individual point of view. And Australia have 9 with 17 minutes to play. As Ray Anderson, who was substituted on, will come off. And coming on is Caitlin Smith, who is usually a goalkeeper when playing for the ParaMatildas.
CommBank ParaMatildas coming off number 9.
And scored twice for the ParaMatildas as a goalkeeper, including a goal against the USA that won Goal of the Year for the ParaMatildas in 2022. Now playing as an outfielder, maybe with a chance to add to the goal tally that currently stands at 3 in her career. Gregorian looking to bring it away. It's left by Christodoulou for Salmon. Australia scrambling a little bit here. Darmy, Hose, away by Christodoulou. Gregorian, Colley running forwards. There's a couple of Nepalese players lose the ball. All smiles between the two of them though. Salmon. It's played up for Gregorian, who just misses. Would have made it 10 if she converted the chance. Wasn't quite able to. And so it'll be another goal kick for Nepal. They look to play out from the back. Drifts out of play in front of Parajouli. Christodoulou rolling it in short. Salmon. Now Christodoulou. And Smith. And back for Salmon as the goalkeepers union work it out together, even if Smith isn't currently with the gloves. Gregorian on the edge of the box. Colley forward of the ball. And Nepal are able to get it away. Smith just about keeping it alive. Christodoulou down the line, gets through for Gregorian. Tamsin Colley is there. Gregorian will go it alone and will again put it wide. Karina Gregorian from New South Wales. Played all 3 of the games against Japan in Osaka in September. After first making it to a ParaMatildas training camp in February. It's put into touch for another Australia ball in with just less than a quarter of an hour to play. Colley looks for Gregorian, finds Gregorian. Australia's number 4 couldn't quite play it back. And when she tried again, Dami was in the way. Christodoulou. And now Salmon. Christodoulou. It's been cut out. Hose giving it across for Dami, sorry. My apologies. As Gregorian will play it back for Smith. Colley. Sent out of play for another Australia throw. Holding short for Colley. Gregorian. Christodoulou electing to shoot, and there is number 10. Nicole Christodoulou scoring yet again. And it is number 10 for the ParaMatildas, who have notched that number up for only the second time in their very short history.
CommBank ParaMatildas goal scored by Nepal. The score is now Australia 10, Nepal 0.
Ball forward for Gregorian. Good tackle from Darmy. It's good to see the Australian crowd getting behind Nepal here. Of course, wanting the ParaMatildas to get the win, and they will here, but also wonderful to see that the Nepalese players are getting a show of support as well. Darmy almost lost it to Colley. Every pass forward and every tackle cheered on by the Australian crowd. And Smith goes back for Salmon. Ball played down the line from Smith as Colley looks to run it down. Couldn't quite. As Christodoulou wins it back. The goalkeeper able to get there first in Magar. Amaya Magar. Everything she does as well. Supported with cheers by all fans in attendance. Salmon. And now Gregorian. In a bit of space down the Australia left, went central for Colley. And the ball won it back, but only temporarily through Darmy. Salmon, forward for Colley, who couldn't control the first time asking. Colley's there, and she couldn't quite make it a hat-trick. Gregorian will try and keep it in play. Did for a split second, but not for much longer. Played down the line for Gregorian, who just about lost out. And forward towards Hose. It's worked forward. But Tapa unable to bring it back in. So, Binu Tapa on for Nepal. They've got an extra player out there, so all 6 of their squad members for today's game are playing as the ball forward came towards Colley, who couldn't quite get it under control. It was a good pass from Caitlin Smith in the end, who works it forward again. This time towards Gregorian. Well cut out by Darmy. As Jasmine Hose will go and get to the ball. Jasmine Hose, with some story, born in Melbourne, was initially unable to walk, was born as a twin with cerebral palsy, and then when she was able to set athletics records in para-athletics around the state of Victoria, so shows how much of an athlete she is, as the shot was sent on goal by Smith, blocked on the way there. McGarr got to the ball and did well ahead of Tamsin Colley. Rolled in short. Colley applying the press along with Caitlin Smith, who wins it back for Australia. Gregorian with her. Caitlin Smith went alone. It was well blocked by Dami, who's done a fair few of those blocks and done them well when she's had to. Smith played it forwards. Dami plays it against Hose. As Colley looks to work it forwards. Now with Gregorian. A good tackle again by Darby. All the way through to Salmon. Salmon's ball forward, went all the way through to Smith, who will then elect to shoot and score. Number 11 on the board for Australia. And it's a 4th career goal in cap number 10 for Caitlin Smith. And now all 4 outfielders currently on the pitch for Australia have scored. Gregorian, Christodoulou, Colley, and now Caitlin Smith. This is a break in play while some water can be had. This is just one of those occasions where it just shows how good cerebral palsy football is and how good the community is. The result is secondary here, and we get to watch players from Nepal in a different country, a different continent as well, play football for their country. It's so good to see. And the showing of sporting moments as well, with the likes of every tackle and ball forward. See applause as Carly Salmon's had enough of being in front of the sticks. She won't score as well, will she? She doesn't quite. There's an empty net as Salmon has vacated goalkeeping responsibilities, and that may open the door for Nepal to grab a goal as well. Carly Salmon just saying, "No, I've had enough of this. Get me in on this goal-scoring action," and that might well present Nepal with a chance if she does so again. She's staying well within her box this time. And will now run forward, plays the ball, looking for a bit of pass and move. The pass was too long. And the 24-year-old goalkeeper showing that she's capable outfield as well. Kaki rolling it in short. Dami inboard, but won by Gregorian of Australia. Has Colley forward. The ball will get to Tamsin Colley, who has a hat-trick. 2 hat-tricks for Australia today, 1 for Nicole Christodoulou. And now, on her debut, Tamsin Colley. And this is a day that she'll remember forever. Was a clever finish to lift it over the goalkeeper. And 12-0 for Australia equals the record they set in their first ever international against the Netherlands. But more importantly, it's a hat-trick for Tamsin Colley as Nepal go forward now through Kaki. Ball out of play for a goal kick. Not the first ParaMatilda to score a hat-trick on debut. That went to Georgia Bykoff, who Then went on and doubled it, scoring 6 against the Netherlands in that win. As Gregorian goes forward. Ball out to play with 90 seconds remaining in the game. And of day 3 as well. Or day 2. Game 3 of day 2. And we're not done goal scoring wise because Caitlin Smith has put it in at the near post, and it's a lucky number 13 for Australia. Firing in at the near post. And it's a record-setting day for the ParaMatildas in front of their home crowd.
Scores out Australia 13, Nepal 0.
There's been a lot for those Australian fans to cheer. And now shouts of "Go Nepal." How good's that? Even from the Australian crowd. Can Nepal get one? Goes short for Darby, who will just send it as far as she can. Ball goes long and through to Carly Salmon, who will go on a run. Plays it for Gregorian. Salmon kept running and has it on the edge of the box. Carly Salmon makes her way through. Back to goal. Now with Gregorian. Salmon still up. Right at the byline as well. It's played in towards the middle. Salmon's there in the box. Oh, Carly Salmon scored! Goalkeeper's a goal scorer. With the final touch makes it 14 for Australia. And Carly Salmon scores. It's a second for the ParaMatildas, and that is the final whistle that draws an end to day 2. And the applause all around for both the Australian and Nepalese teams, who both tried their absolute heart out. A wonderful display of cerebral palsy football, and now the green and gold will get to celebrate. And that is day 2 done and dusted from the home of the Matildas, as that Carly Salmon goal comes up on your screens again. But that will just about do us from the home of the Matildas. Day 2 is done and dusted. 6 games down and 13 more to follow. And just on day 3, of course tomorrow, I ran through the fixtures slightly earlier on, but we'll update you again. So from midday it all starts tomorrow. India and Japan from 12 o'clock. And then Thailand will take on the Islamic Republic of Iran in the men's side of things from 2:30. And then at 5 p.m, it's Japan and Nepal in the women's as part of Game 9. We do hope that you can join us from midday tomorrow for the first of those 3 games. 3 games today. Australia winning the third of them in the women's 14-0 against Nepal. In the second game, it was a wonderful goal from Jeremy Boyce that couldn't quite get the job done for Australia against Iran, but my word, it was a highlight. That ended up 3-1 to Australia. And in the very first game of the day, it was Japan winning that one by 10 goals to 0 over India. So a lot of goals today as we can get one last photo before everything breaks away. It's an absolute pleasure to be here as part of the coverage. Take care, stay safe, see you tomorrow, and bye for now.